Hey guys, Sak here from SAKITECH, and in today's video, I am going to be sharing 25 plus tips, tricks, and features for your iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now these features are going to range from essential features to hidden features to some really awesome features. So let's dive in and get started and get acquainted with your brand new and shiny iPhone 12 Pro Max. These tips are going to enhance your ownership of your smartphone. Alright, so the very first thing I want to talk about has to do with basics of navigation, just in case you're brand new to the iPhone scene. So basically, if I was in an application, okay, if I want to go back home, I just swipe from the bottom, boom, I'm home. Number two, if I want to bring up my recent applications, I again do the same thing, bottom to top, let go, and all my applications are going to show up so I can access anyone that I desire. And if I want to kill an application, I just swipe it up like this and it's gone. Then choose the one I want, go home. Now one more thing is, if I go back into my application, at the bottom you'll see a little black bar. You can use that black bar to switch between applications just like this. Just grab the black bar and slide over, okay? Just a little trick you should know. So those are just the basics of navigation. Now I do want to let you know some people still miss the home button that used to be on the iPhones. They want to be able to click something and go home. You can actually activate a menu that does exactly that. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. If you go to the settings, okay, go to the main settings right here, then scroll down just a little bit, go to accessibility, and then go down to touch, all right? You go to touch, and then you go to assistive touch. And what you can do is you can enable this thing right here that basically floats on the screen. You can put it anywhere that you want. Now, I like to put it right here. And what this allows you to do is if you click on it, it actually has a home section. You can go back home. It can stay just there. If you tap it again, it gives you all these options. You can also access the control center from here, okay? You can bring down the notification center. But some people like to do it this way. Go back to the settings, then go to single tap, you tap on it, and then simply choose home. Now when I click on this, the single tap always takes me home. So it is as if I have an actual button right there to take me home. So you don't have to miss your home button. Again, let me go over here, tap this, it's gonna send me home. And one more thing that's very important, if you go to settings, you can also configure what you want to do when you double tap on it. So if I tap over here, let's tap on App Switcher. Now when I double tap, just like the good old days, it actually brings up the App Switcher. So you can have this software key sitting right where it used to be when we had the physical buttons and behave exactly like in those days. Okay, double tap, bring it up, or tap to go home, and you can further customize it in here as much as you want. Now, if you want to use it as a menu item, you go back to single tap and use open menu. In that scenario, when you click on this, it just expands and gives you additional functions. All right, let's move on to the next tactic. All right, so the other thing you want to do with your iPhone is you want to go into your settings, and what you want to do is click over here. This is your Apple Card. This is where all your information resides in respect to your Apple account. Now, once you're here, you want to go to iCloud. Once you're in iCloud, you want to scroll down a little bit, and then you want to go to iCloud Backup, and you want to make sure your phone is, in fact, backing up to iCloud. So just in case something happens to your phone, all your data is, in fact, backed up, so you can easily recover it from the iCloud. So make sure this is, in fact, enabled. Now, one more thing that's very important. This might cost you a couple bucks. But again, it's your choice. You can tap on manage storage, okay? And then everybody gets 5 gigabytes of iCloud storage by default. What you can do is you can go to change storage plan and you can purchase additional cloud storage. So right now I have the $1 per month 50 gigabyte plan. And if I tap, and by the way, it's only $1 a month. You can do these two as well. And after you upgrade, you can always go back to downgrade if you don't need that storage anymore. They charge you month to month to month. It's a monthly charge basis. Let's move on. Now, one more thing. When you go into your control center by pulling from the corner, if you press and hold on the brightness slider, it gives you all these options. Now, I want you guys to notice something. When I tap on dark mode, okay, even my wallpaper reacts to that option and the wallpaper becomes darker, so it's easy on the eyes and also saves some battery because this is an OLED display. Now what you can do is, let me go back to regular mode. Let me just go to light mode. Now if I go into my settings, okay, and if I go into my wallpapers right over here, and if I say choose a wallpaper, go to stills, and then any wallpaper that supports two wallpapers in one, light version and dark version, is going to have that little symbol at the bottom, and you can choose that wallpaper. Otherwise, you can choose any one of these wallpapers. Now, here's one more thing you need to know. If you choose a black wallpaper, there's a reason they're giving you all black. All this is going to do, it's going to save you battery. Like I said, this is an OLED display. If the screen is as black as possible, it simply consumes less battery. So if your aim is to increase your battery life, this is one thing you need to do. Okay, it's certainly going to increase that battery life, or you can go with one of these options. The ones that shift from light to auto based on the choice you make right here with the dark mode. All right, let's move on. Now, one more thing you need to be aware of is how to customize your notifications per application. So you go to your settings, okay, again, let's go to the main screen right here. You scroll down a little bit, there's notification, you tap on it, and basically from here, what you can do is you can choose any application you want. Let's just use messages as an example, okay, and you can modify the way you receive notifications. You can allow or disallow notifications for any single app. You can also customize the way you want to get alerted. Do you want alerts to show up on your lock screen, notification screen, or you just want a banner, a little pop-up banner on the top? Also, you can customize the sound of each notification for any application. So you can have a different notification for messages, for iMessage, and a different notification for WhatsApp or Telegram if that's what you use. So remember, you can always go to notifications and customize how you get notified for every single application in here. And if there's an application that is bothering you too much, you can go there and disable the notification so you never get a notification. All right. The next thing I want to show you guys is how to take a screenshot on your iPhone. So all you do is press the volume up key and the power key at the same time. Now once you do that, it takes a screenshot, and there's a little thing right here. You can swipe it away. It gets saved anyway. But you can also edit that. So if I press and do this again, I can tap here. It's going to expand. I can choose pens to write on it as I please. Okay, as you can see, I can even use a ruler to make perfect lines. If I'm maybe, there we go. So with the ruler, I can make the perfect line. I can change the size of the screenshot, and then when I'm done with my edits, I can tap here, share this, or I can just delete this if I'm not satisfied. Okay. So that is a screenshot customization screen. Now, one more amazing thing you can do is you can record the entire screen. And this is very useful if you want to show somebody how to do something or ask a question. So what you normally do is pull this down, and you should have a record option here. If you don't see the record option, all you do is go to your settings, okay? Go to the main screen, and then scroll down a little bit till you'll see the control center. Once you're here, look for the screen recording option. Click on the yellow plus. It's going to show up right here on the top. Now that means it's now going to be right here. Okay, so now what I can bring this down, tap on this, and now, or actually press and hold. That's even better. If you press and hold, you get this option. So they're asking you, where do you want to save your screen recording? I want to say photos. I'm going to say start recording. It's going to do a countdown, 3, 2, 1. Now the screen is actually being recorded, okay, as you can see. I can always go back in there, press it again, and I can turn on and off the microphone. So if you want to record your voice to give instructions, you can add your voice onto your recording. When you're done, okay, doing your thing, on the top here, you tap this. It says, do you want to stop the recording? You say stop, and it says screen recording has been saved to photos. You go to photos, and you can replay the whole thing right here, as you can see. You can send this to anybody, but it's a great way to record your screen built into the phone. Next thing I'm going to talk about has to do with your camera. So let's launch the camera real quick. Okay, now you do know that your camera is capable of a lot of things especially the video mode. So when you go to video mode, on the top corner, you'll see the HD and 60. HD means 1080p, 60 means 60 frames per second. Both of these texts here are clickable. If I click this, it switches from 4K, from HD to 4K, as you can see. And if I click the one on the other side, the number, it switches my frames per second. So right now I have 4K at 30 frames per second. If I tap it again, I have HD at 30 frames per second. If I tap it again, I have HD at 60 frames per second. So you don't have to go out of the application. You can modify that right here. And also, if you're wondering what that tiny green light is, so if I pull this up, that light disappears. When I bring up the camera, you're going to see a little green light. That green light means both the microphone and the actual cameras are in use right now. That light is going to show up in any application that is using your microphone or your cameras in any form, just so you're aware that you're being recorded somehow, okay? But that's the thing right here. You tap these and you can change all these, no problem. And of course, you can also go to the settings. In the settings, you scroll down a little bit until you find camera, and you can access the formats setting right from here to switch between different camera settings. And you may have heard that the iPhone 12 Pros do allow you to record in high dynamic range and Dolby Vision. That's this option here. You enable this and you can do that. I recommend disabling this unless you're specifically interested in HDR with Dolby Vision. Otherwise, just stick to whatever is here. Just pick one of these guys right here and you are going to be good to go. And of course, all your apps are now in the app library. That's going to be all the way on the corner. So you customize your screens however you want. And then you swipe over, you got your app library. You can search all your applications from here. And you can also choose it by letter. So if I tap on R, it goes to R. If I tap on K or L, it goes to K or L. Or I can just swipe up and down or search any way that I want. First thing you want to do is you want to go into your settings, okay? And once you're in your settings, you want to quickly go into the battery. At the bottom here, you tap on it, and you want to make sure to click over here and look at this number. The maximum capacity should say 100%. When you buy a brand new phone, the maximum capacity of that phone should always be 100% for the battery. If this number is any lower than 100%, there is a problem with your battery, and that means you want to quickly return that iPhone and get a replacement. Again, even 99% is not acceptable when you're supposed to getting a brand new product. And of course, over the years, this number will go down a little bit, but not by too much. So from a perspective of a brand new phone, even 99% means bad. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to check. Now, number two thing you want to do while you're in the same option is make sure the optimized battery charging is in fact enabled. Let me just cancel that. Keep it enabled. So basically what's going to happen is the iPhone actually optimizes the charging of your battery. So once the battery charging hits 80%, the iPhone is going to throttle the speed of the charging to make sure the charging itself does not damage the actual battery in the long term. So you have a nice and healthy battery for a long, long time. Now I will let you know one thing. When you have this enabled, the overall charging from 0 to 100 takes a hit. So the speed of the charging slows down a little bit, but the life of the battery prolongs itself. But if you disable this, let me just disable this for 1 second here. What's going to happen is the battery is going to charge a little bit faster, and it's going to also take a hit in overall battery life, overall longevity. All right, so let's move on and look at other things to do. Now, one more very important thing to set up is if you go into your settings, okay, and if you go into your display, you want to make sure that you have this raise to wake option enabled. Let me show you what exactly it does. So let me disable this. I'm going to turn off the phone. Now, if I grab the phone and lift it, nothing happens, okay? If I want to just glance at it, nothing happens. But when you have the lift to wake enabled, let me log in here, go to the settings, enable raise to wake. Now when I turn off the phone, when I grab it, I want to glance at it. Do I get any text messages, calls? Nope. I can put it right back. But the good thing is you can lift to wake and it's going to show you what's happening. If you're not satisfied, you just put it back and move on. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you want to go back into your settings, okay? You want to scroll down just a little bit, go into display and brightness. Once you're in here, scroll down just a little bit and make sure auto lock is in fact set to 30 seconds. Now this is going to make sure you get the maximum battery life per charge. So basically at 30 seconds, if nothing is happening on the screen, nobody's touching the screen, it turns off automatically in 30 seconds. But if you have it at 5 minutes, 4 minutes, or 3 minutes, it's just going to stay on for no reason, and it's just going to eat the battery life. As you know, the display is what eats most of your battery. So keep that at 30 seconds. I'm going to keep it at 5 minutes just for the sake of this video. Let's move on. Now the next thing you want to do with iPhones, with iOS 14, you have ability to add widgets onto your screen just like you have on the Android phones. So if I swipe over, as you can see, I have a bunch of widgets. Now, it's very easy to add these to the screen. You press and hold, the whole screen wiggles, you click on plus, and then you have a whole bunch of widgets you can choose from here for all kinds of applications. Most of these are the built-in widgets. So, for example, if I wanted a weather widget, I click on this one, and I can choose the various sizes available. So let's say I want to use this one. Once you're ready, you can click on add or press and hold, and just drag and drop it right here, wherever you want it. But these widgets are not going to be enough for maximum customization. What you also want to do is you want to go to the App Store. Okay, so let me bring up the App Store and search for widgets. All right, let me just right here. And when you do that, you are going to get access to all these applications that allow you to create additional super customized widgets. For example, the Widgetsmith is right here. Look at this. Let me just give you a couple previews. So you can do all kinds of things with your widgets if you download a third-party widget maker from the App Store. So don't just rely on the stock stuff. Also go for custom widgets just like this one right here. Okay, now let's move on. Now one more thing I like to tell people to do is if you go into your settings, okay, and if I go back into my display right over here, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you bolden the text. Now by default, you get this one. Now if this is a little bit light, the actual text is very light, thin. If you want to be able to see better, especially on a larger screen, you want to bolden the text, and that's going to give you nice and pronounced blacks, so everything is going to be much more easy to see. Now while we are talking about the display, there's a very important feature that you need to deactivate or activate based on your needs. Now by default, it is activated. So what you want to do is go to the settings, scroll down a little bit and go into accessibility. Once you're there, go to display and text size. All the way at the bottom, auto brightness for some reason is hidden here and enabled by default. You want to disable this guy so you can control the brightness manually. So if I go over here, I can just control the brightness from here manually. When the auto brightness is enabled, okay, it is just going to adjust the brightness based on the ambient lighting without your input. Now, if you read this at the bottom, that might have its benefits, but I like manual control. You just have to be on top of the game to make sure you manage your battery life. So if you're looking at your phone in the bed at nighttime, make sure you lower the brightness. You know, that's going to keep your eyes safe and also is going to get you better battery life. Let's move on. The next thing you want to do is you want to set up certain settings in your Face ID. So let me go to my settings. Let's go to the main screen. We have the main screen. Scroll down a little bit. Here's the Face ID setting. You click on this one and then you put your passcode in. And then what you want to make sure is when you're in this setting, you want to enable all these options. So the unlock the iPhone, you can use your Face ID. To make purchases in iTunes or the App Store, you can use your Face ID. And of course, to use Apple Pay and password autofills. That's going to make things very convenient. Now, that's number one. Number two things is, which is very important for security, is you want to make sure both these features, attention features, are enabled. This is going to make sure when you're sleeping, somebody cannot bring the phone to your face and unlock the phone with your face. These features are going to make sure that your eyes are open and looking into the camera to make sure it unlocks the phone. So that is definitely a must-have for security, so your girlfriend cannot unlock your phone at night and see all those nasty text messages that you send out to other girls. Now the final thing you want to do here, which is very important, again, this is going to be for security. If I go all the way down, right now, when my phone is locked, anybody can access all these options. Today's view, notification center, control center, all these things listed here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to turn off the phone. I'm going to double tap to wake it up. Actually, let me just click the button here to wake it up. I can access the control center. I can make modifications here. I can turn on the lights on and off in the house right from the phone, even though the phone is supposed to be locked. People can also access my camera, take a photo from here. As you can see, the camera just launches. So what you want to do is you want to go into your phone, back into the Face ID settings right over here. Let's go back here, and you want to disable all these options. So nobody can have access to these options when the phone is actually locked. People can even reply with messages if you don't have this enabled. So now when I turn off the phone and turn it on, I cannot access the control center. I cannot access anything, okay, as you can see. All you have to do is log in to get full access to all the functions. All right, the next thing you want to do is you want to go to your settings. You're going to go back into your sounds and haptics. So you go inside here, and what you want to do is you want to make sure you disable vibrate on ring. This is actually going to save you some battery. So if somebody's calling you, the phone is going to be ringing. Why do you need the phone to also vibrate if the phone is also ringing? So by disabling the vibration, you're saving battery because the vibrate motor in the phone actually uses a lot of battery. So if you get a lot of calls, this is going to save you some battery. You can have this one enabled, so if the phone is on silent, then it should vibrate so you can feel it, because this time you're not hearing anything. Fantastic, let's move on. The next very important thing is you need to enable picture-in-picture view. So let me go to my settings, okay? Now all you do is you search for PIP, PIP on the top. It's going to bring it right here. Now even if you don't search it, it is under General and it's under Picture-in-Picture. Make sure that it's enabled. So let me show you what that does and how cool it is. So let me launch my Netflix application right over here. Okay, let's pull up a movie. Let me kill the volume real quick so we don't have to hear anything here and get a copyright strike. So let's play this right over here. So there's a movie playing. Now what I can do with picture-in-picture is if I pull this up, the movie continues playing on a little window here, and I can do stuff on my phone as that's happening. Let me just launch an application. So if I want to do a quick calculation, something came to my mind, I can keep doing it as I'm watching the movie, which is great. And also with this guy, you can actually resize it. If this is too small, you can just go like this, make it a little bit bigger, and you can put it to the side. Let's say I want to access the full application, but I don't want to pause the movie. I can just pull it to the side. It'll be right here. I can do my thing here, whatever you want to do, whatever app you're in, and then when I'm done, go back to my movie if the movie's not that important to watch. Again, you can resize it, make it small, middle, or large, okay? And when you are done, you can exit out or go back to the actual full screen. It's all gonna be up to you. Let me X this out. Now let's move on. Now the next thing that's very important is the ability to restrict things on your iPhone. So when you give your iPhone to your friends or family members, they can only do so much on it without causing damage or looking into things you don't want them to look into. So what you want to do is you want to go to settings. You have to set this thing up from the very beginning. So you scroll down, and where you want to go is you want to go into screen time right here. You go inside. The first thing is at the bottom, you have to set up a screen time passcode, which I've already done. Once you do that, you want to go to content and privacy restrictions. You click on this guy and look at all the options on the top here. I can go here. I can now put in my passcode. Now this passcode is not the passcode you use to log into your phone. This is a unique passcode just for this content restriction. So I think mine was 000, okay, something simple just for demonstration. But I can actually disallow people from installing applications. I can disallow people from deleting applications or making in-app purchases. So here's one example. I'm going to go outside. Let me just press and hold on the WhatsApp here. it's gonna give me the option to remove the application. I don't want that. I don't want people removing applications when I just hand them my phone, even if it's by mistake. So you go into the settings, content, iTunes, dump in your passcode, and you say, I don't want to allow people to delete applications. Now when I try to press and hold, I cannot delete that application, okay? Press and hold, you're not going to see the delete option anywhere. When I click on edit, there's no X symbol to delete these applications. That's one. Number two, back in the menu, if you go over here, you can also go to allowed applications, and again, disable all these applications so people cannot use them unless you allow them. So if I disable these applications, just take a look at this. The Mail, Safari, Camera, they're all going to disappear from the actual screen. I don't see the camera anymore. I don't see the Mail application. So you have that option as well. Okay, so let's go back inside. Let me just enable that for now. Now under the same settings, I forgot to show you guys, if you go back in here, okay, you have all these options at the bottom. You can take a look at these and modify it based on your needs. Okay, there's so much going on here. It's crazy. Let's move on. The next thing I want to talk about has to do with your control center. You pull this down and here we have a control center. Now I do want to let you know, other than this top portion here, the first 3 rows, it is fully customizable at the bottom. So you go to your settings, okay, and you go into your control center right over here. And from here, these are all the ones that are included, and these are the ones you can also add. So let's remove a couple things over here, okay. You can also change where you want them. So if you want to use the alarms more than anything else, you can push it to the top so it appears on the top. As you can see, alarm appears on the top here, okay. Now control center again, so let's remove a bunch of these things real quick just to make it nice and clean. Okay, now look at this, there's nothing there. Now you can add everything as you desire. Now one thing I like to do is I like to add the Apple remote. If you have an Apple TV, you can use this as a remote to control that. Add the camera, calculator, dark mode, and now look at that. It's much more customized based on how I want to use it. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. I do hope you learned some new things and configurations for your brand new iPhone 12 Pro. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below and let me know. And for now, guys, have a fantastic day, alright?